Okay. I am Esther Adams, the presenter. And just some background on me. I have a Bachelor's of Arts in Political Science from the University of South Carolina, a Master's of Public Administration from the College of Charleston, a certificate in urban planning from the College of Charleston. I'm the former site plan reviewer in the Planning and Zoning Department at the City of North Charleston, and a former planner in the Planning and Zoning Department at Berkeley County. I want to start the conversation about politics. Anytime you're talking about land use, anytime you're talking about local government, always remember that there is some type of political element at play, that there is some type of politics going on in the background that is not going to be told on the news, it's not going to be shared in the newspaper, but always believe and know that it's something political in the background. We will start our conversation with zoning. What is zoning? Zoning is the way that the government controls the physical development of the land. What types of uses can take place on each individual property. Some of the history of zoning: Edward Murray Bassett is considered the father of American zoning. He's one of the founding fathers of modern day urban planning. He wrote the first comprehensive zoning ordinance in the United States that was adopted by the city of New York in 1960. Let's talk about the zoning ordinance. The zoning ordinance is the written regulations and laws that define how a property in a specific geographical zone can be used. Some of the common zoning classifications are residential, commercial, industrial, planned developments, and overlay districts. I wanted to show you this website, www.municode.com. It is a little cheat sheet if you're trying to look for an ordinance. I know sometimes when you go to the municipality's website, it's not really easy to go through. So if you was to go to this website, go under Code Library, and you see that you have the United States of America. Click on South Carolina. It's in alphabetical order. As you can see, Charleston County, City of Charleston is on here. You can click on that and it could take you straight to the zoning ordinance for the municipality you're looking for. That's not coming up? Okay. Let me see, hold on for me, because that did not come up. Okay, so I want to show you. Do you see now? No. All right, I was just told that you couldn't see the website. Can you see that website now? Okay, you can see it. So you would go to Code Library in the corner. Once you click on Code Library, it is the picture of the United States of America. You click on State of South Carolina. The municipalities that have their ordinance on here is in alphabetical order. As you can see, Charleston County as well as Charleston, the City of Charleston, that is on here. So you could click on those to get to the ordinance faster, because sometimes it's very difficult to find the ordinance on the municipalities' websites. Back to the zoning classifications, there are also overlay districts as well as planned developments. Planned developments is when you want to create your own plan, your own rules. You don't want to go by the rules in the zoning ordinance, but you want to say what the setbacks are, you want to say what the buffers are, you want to say what the uses are. So that's you creating your own rules in those planned developments. All right, a variance. Has anybody that's on Zoom or in the audience, have anyone ever applied for a variance from a municipality and they want to share with us their experience with that variance process? You can unmute yourself if you're on Zoom and if you've applied for a variance and you want to share with the group.
No, I repeat this so they can hear you, but would it be the same as when I meet someone who lives in a residential area, wants to go to the salon in her house, if you like to apply for that, this is just running like on the edge of the residential commercial district? Is that the same?
That she probably applied for a rezoning. In the audience, someone said that they had someone who wanted to apply to have a salon by their home. It wasn't zoned for that, so they had to go to the board. That would have been a rezoning. And we will talk about rezoning later on. So
this is Carol Jackson. I'm on James Island.
yes, ma'am.
I helped one of my constituents who wanted to build a new home next door to her parents on Seaside Lane, and the city restricts the use of manufactured components. So we had to help her get a variance to be able to build that kind of structure, which is beautiful, but it's one of the leftovers from not understanding the new technology of manufactured components, and we were successful.
Very good. Did you find the process easy to go through?
Yes, because I probably have an inside track as far as, you know, being elected and being able to contact the city staff. If I were just doing it for my if it were my constituent doing it for herself, no.
Okay. Okay. So a variance is a request to deviate from the current zoning requirement. Variances are heard by the Board of Zoning Appeals, aka BZA or ZBA. Members are appointed by council members. The time on BZA varies per municipality. It is quasi-jurisdictional, meaning that the board makes the final decision. And if you need to go, you would need to go to circuit court in order to appeal the decision. The city of Charleston, they have also a separate step that's available for an appeals that we will talk about later. And by law, the municipality is required to post an ad in the newspaper. This is an example of the city of Charleston, their Board of Zoning Appeals ad that will be ran in the newspaper. And these are examples of BZA signs that you would see in the city of North Charleston as well as the city of Charleston. If you take nothing else from this presentation this afternoon, when you see these signs in your neighborhoods, call the planning and zoning department, go by City Hall, ask them what's going on, what they're trying to do, stay involved, stay informed. Because it is those neighborhoods that stay involved and stay informed that usually is successful if they are for or against the different variances requests that's being made for their communities. For the BZA signs, public moves the signs all the time, and the municipality will remove the sign after the meeting. This in your, those in the room, in your packet, you have a copy of the Board of Zoning Appeals application. And for everyone on the Zoom call, you'll see that City of Charleston, there's 2 pages for the Board of Zoning Appeal application. You will put in the property owner's information, the applicant, and the property owner does not have to be the same person. Plats and floor plans and any other documentations that you would need to submit. You can also do pictures or letters from the neighbor, or if you have a homeowners association, the applicant will be required to sign and date it. On the second page, you have to explain what is your request. So for example, if you're trying to build a house or something in the, let's say the front setback is 15 feet, but you want it to be 10 feet, that's what you would put in that section, and you would explain why you need that exception. So for the variance test that the staff of the Board of Zoning Appeals will be looking at when they go through your application, they will be looking for, number one, what's extraordinary or exceptional about your site? What is it about your site that you can't meet the front setback when everybody else can? Number two, the conditions, does the conditions of your property not apply to the other property in the vicinity? Number three, the application of the ordinance, a particular piece of property would not effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. And they have to make sure that it is for the public good, that granting of that ordinance would not be a detriment to the neighborhood. So for the Board of Zoning Appeals application, you will fill out your personal contact information. You can be the applicant and not the property owner, but the property owner will have to sign it. And for the City of Charleston, you will have to apply online. They no longer accept paper applications. All of this has to take place online. And when you're filling it out online, if you have any questions, by all means, contact city staff and they can help you. So this is the variance test that I just went through. The variance process, applicant submits an application, staff reviews the applications and prepare advertisement for the paper. An ad is ran in the paper, staff posts the signs at the site, staff drafts the report, the BZA meeting is held and decision is made, and the applicant can appeal the decision by doing a motion. For the City of Charleston, they can appeal by doing a motion to reconsider, meaning you go back to the Board of Zoning Appeals, or you can go to the circuit court. And it's up to the applicant which appeal route they would like to take. When I talked to the City of Charleston staff about the difference about the motion to reconsider or going to the circuit court, they told me that they don't make recommendations. It's up to the applicant to decide what is the best way for them to do. And sometimes they refer to them to talk to a real estate attorney to see what would be the best option. Okay, a variance is attached to the property. However, in some municipalities, if you are trying to build something and if you don't get the permit within a year of receiving the variance, you will have to go back to the Board of Zoning Appeals to reapply. So rezonings. Ms. Erica in the room, she was telling us about her friend who wanted to do a rezoning in order to put in hair salon by her residence, inside her residence. So she was trying to change the use. Was she successful with it? Did you find the process easy?
I remember, I wasn't familiar, I just told about it after the fact.
Gotcha. She said she was successful, but she's not aware if her neighbor found the process easy. Was anyone else on the call who's ever applied for rezoning and they would like to share with us their experience with that? Okay, so what is a rezoning? Rezoning is the process of assigning property a different zoning classification. Some zoning classifications are residential, commercial, industrial, planned developments. Usually people, when they rezone up, meaning they're going to go from from residential to commercial, or from commercial to industrial. Sometimes we did run into cases that people would zone down, so it could be a commercial zoning that they wanted to go for residential. And like I said before, the planned developments is when you want to make your own rules for that development. You don't want to go by the current zoning ordinance. You want to state what the setbacks should be, what the uses should be, what the buffers should look like. You want to create your own rules. And you would have to go, that goes through the rezoning process. Yes.
So for people who have residents and they want to do additions, is that considered rezoning or is that just part of the process?
That's just part of the question. Is if you have a residence and you want to do a building addition, that would just be going through the permitting process. You would have to submit a site plan showing the setbacks, making sure you can meet the requirements and submit to the office and go through the process for them to review it so they can approve it and give you the permit.
Okay, so, and if we have a historical house, is there a different process than, anybody who's doing a new construction, or anybody who does not have a historical house?
The question is, if the property is a historical house, is there a different process? Yes, in the city of Charleston, you would have to go through their, I think they have a board of architecture review that you would have to go through. So you have an additional layer of hoops that you have to jump through when they consider it to be historical.
And then more difficult or easy?
I've heard mixed reviews. More people lean toward more difficult than easy. Have you ever went through the board of architecture review?
I only asked the question because remaining house for long-time residents are historical houses, and we're starting to feel the pressure from insurance agencies to either raise the house up for the flood zone. Some people may have had Freeman's cottages and notice that, new residents that bought these Freeman cottages are, now paying, second edition. So they're wanting to know how that is being done, and they live in these houses, all their lives, and finding it difficult to get it done.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely. I would recommend having a meeting with the city of Charleston to talk about that, the problems that you're experiencing in your community, especially since they're working on their comprehensive plan update. So that would be something that they definitely need to be aware of. So maybe we can have a meeting, coming out, talking to the neighbors, hearing their concerns, and figuring out what could be changed or what could be done. I didn't hear you.
Do you mind repeating some of the context?
Yeah. So in the room, someone was saying about the older residents, most of their homes are considered historical, and there's a lot of new people coming into the neighborhood and they're doing second story additions and stuff. And the older residents are trying to figure out how are these new people coming into the neighborhoods and getting these second additions when it was very difficult for the original residents to do the same thing. So I recommended that they meet with City of Charleston staff, have these conversations, especially because they're in the process of updating their comprehensive plan and bringing these issues to the attention of staff to find out what could take place. Planning Commission. So members are, rezoning applications go to Planning Commission. Members are appointed by council members. They serve usually for 2 years, but it could vary by municipality. Unlike the Board of Zoning Appeals, Planning Commission only makes a recommendation to council. Rezoning applications goes to committee and council multiple times. The amount of times vary per municipality, but it is county council who makes that final decision on those rezoning applications, not Planning Commission. This is an example of a rezoning ad that would be ran in the newspaper for the City of Charleston. The rezoning signs, by law, the municipalities, they're required to post the signs on the property 7 days before the meeting. And these are examples of signs in the City of Charleston and the City of North Charleston. And like the signs for the Board of Zoning Appeals, if you see these signs in your neighborhood, make sure you call the office, stop by, stay informed, and figure out what's going on. The rezoning signs, like the BZA signs, the public moves them all the time, and the municipality will remove the signs after the meetings. So the rezoning applications, Charleston County does not provide a copy of the rezoning application online by ordinance. The citizens are required to have a pre-application meeting where staff will go over all the details of the application and give you a copy of the application. This is an example of a rezoning signs for the City of Charleston. You will put in all the property information on page 1, TMS number, the address, the deed and plat recording if you need it, the zoning, requested zoning change, which you're going from, what you're going to, and the reason why you're requesting it, the owner and the applicant's information. Like I said before, they don't have to be the same person. You will have to provide the tax map, the recorded plat, the application, the owner signs it, and then you submit your application. And these applications with the City of Charleston are also online. They aren't taking paper applications anymore. So key points to remember about the rezoning: make sure that there's not creating spot zoning, meaning you're not trying to do a commercial zone in the middle of a residential area. Or make sure that the change will be in conformance with the comprehensive plan. Have to make sure that the rezoning request will be in line with the existing character of the neighborhood. When you're putting in a rezoning request, staff is going to look at that request and look at every use that is allowed under that new zoning, not just the request that you're looking to do. And they're also going to make sure that all the uses allowed under the requested zoning classification will be in line with the character of the neighborhood. So that takes us to comprehensive plan. Usually when municipalities are updating their comprehensive plans, they have community meetings. Has anyone ever been to a comprehensive plan community meeting and they want to share with us how they feel, how their experience went at the comprehensive plan meeting? Okay. What is a comprehensive plan? A comprehensive plan communicates the community's goals and objectives, provides the blueprints of future land use, and serves as the basis of zoning, subdivision, and land use codes, sometimes called a master plan or a general plan. Municipalities meet with citizens, elected officials, and conduct research to produce the comprehensive plan. Some components of the comprehensive plan is population, economic development, natural resources, cultural resources, community facilities, housing, land use, transportation, priority investments. And then there's also other elements in the municipalities. They give them a section where they can focus on something else, whatever they feel should be a concentration for that municipality. It is usually a perception that planning and zoning staff, that they walk around with a comprehensive plan, but it is not the comprehensive plan that they use every day. It is that zoning ordinance that serves as that Bible that will dictate your day-to-day. This is another recap of the rezoning application process. Staff makes a recommendation, planning commission meeting is held, go to committee and council members multiple times, and each municipality is different. And remember that county council makes the final decision on rezoning. Permits. Has anyone ever applied for a permit with the municipality and they want to share with us their experience? Okay. As a rule of thumb, check with the municipality to see if a permit is required. Usually you need a permit for everything. There is a cost associated with the permits, and sometimes inspections may be required for permits as well. So, any follow-up questions about rezonings, variances, Board of Zoning Appeals, Planning Commissions, or permits? Yes, ma'am.
Do you mind briefly giving an example of variance?
An example of I had a question to give an example of a variance request. So of that front yard setback, if the variance is if the ordinance says that the front yard setback from the property line to the house has to be 15 feet, but you want to do 10 feet instead, you will have to go for a variance. Let's say that the zoning ordinance says if you have a residential property by a commercial building and you have to have a 10-foot buffer, but you only want to do a 5-foot, you would have to go for a variance to apply for that. So any type of exception to what the rule is, either increasing or decreasing, you would have to go for a variance. Any other follow-up questions?
So since we have you here, and I know this is off topic, this town was not able to be here for the Ayers property. Is there any difficulty if you want to renovate the Ayers property?
Yeah. Usually it will come into with that renovation. If you have to go to when you go for the permit, you're gonna have to have that owner's signature. So with Ayers property, there are multiple owners, right? So there's not one clear-cut owner. So the issue is going to be, how many heirs do you have? So if it's 50 heirs, can you get 50 signatures? Oh, I'm sorry. The question was, would it be a problem if you had Ayers property and you wanted to do repairs to it? And I told her yes, because for those permits, the owners of the property will have to sign the application. And so depending on how many heirs you have, it possibly could be a problem. If it's only 3 people, you probably could get those signatures pretty quick and it won't be an issue. If you have a situation where you have 50 or 100 heirs, that possibly could be problematic.
But they pay the taxes. It doesn't matter if they pay the taxes on the property.
It does not matter if they pay the taxes on the property. Paying taxes does not dictate ownership.
Just want to reiterate that, and that is an often question. People believe that because they pay taxes and maintain the property, that gives them the right to the property, even though it's Ayers property and it's not that very high. So we just want to make sure that people really do understand the importance of having the code.
Yes. Again, the comment in the room, the importance of clear title and you paying taxes on property does not give you ownership. That does not give you the rights of ownership. It is very important that you have clear title. If you do have Ayers property, please call the center so we can meet with one of the attorneys and try to address that issue as soon as possible. But no, paying taxes does not give you a special type of ownership or a special type of permission that the actual heirs to that property will have. All right, we will change the conversation now and talk about gentrification. Who wants to give me how they define gentrification? Yes.
It's basically when someone moves in, or a business or a person moves into a community to take advantage of, let's say, low prices for housing or businesses, and make improvements that cause the prices to go up. And then the people in the area are paying higher taxes, which can essentially tax them out.
Okay, so I have one definition that was basically, I'm a paraphrase. New people moving into the neighborhood, causing the cost of living in the neighborhood to go up, and the original residents can no longer afford to stay there. Anything else? Okay. So Webster defines gentrification as the process of repairing and rebuilding homes and businesses in a deteriorated area, such as an urban neighborhood, accompanied by an influx of middle class or affluent people, and that often results in the displacement of easier, usually poor residents. Wikipedia defines gentrification as the process of changing the character of a neighborhood through the influx of more affluent residents and businesses. And the American Planning Association defines gentrification as it means as many different things as there are cities dealing with its impacts. I ran across this book called How to Kill a City, Gentrification and Equity and Inequity in the Fight for the Neighborhood. In the book, the author breaks down gentrification into 4 different stages. I'll tell you what those 4 stages are, and then you can tell me whether you agree or disagree or what you feel he left out. The first stage is the individuals seeking cheap rents begin moving into a disinvested neighborhood, sometimes forming their own sub-communities. Second, more middle-class people follow and real estate interest catches on. Third, the new middle-class residents take their place in the neighborhoods, institutions, and begin reshaping power dynamics, attracting more amenities, police, as well as bigger money developers. And fourth, by the time managerial class professionals find their way to the neighborhood, the individuals who were seeking cheap rents in the first stage can no longer afford it and gets pushed out. Anyone like to share with us what do they think about this author's stages of gentrification? What did he leave out? I think he left out that the original residents that were there, a lot of times they have to leave because it's no longer affordable. Major cities that has gentrified in their causes. New Orleans, because of Hurricane Katrina. Detroit, 2013 municipal bankruptcy. Harlem, changing in federal and city policies, including fierce crime fighting and concrete effort to develop the retail corridor of 125th Street. San Francisco, because of the .com boom. Any other cities, major cities we would like to add to this list? Charleston is very much so gentrifying at this very moment. The housing market is unbelievable and it's almost impossible to find affordable housing.
So is there anything that people who own historical houses could do to prevent taxes from going up and insurance from going up, which may kind of force them to sell their homes?
The question was, is there anything that people who own historical homes can do to prevent the taxes from going up and to prevent them, the insurance going up and prevent them from having to sell their homes? Are the people taking, is it their primary residence and they're taking advantage of the 4%? They're taking the 4%. And if they're 65 and older, are they taking the homestead?
Most people, because things have been steadily going up and, just repair your house, something that would normally cost a little bit cheaper because of the pandemic and all this, all that, building supplies have gone up. So what is there? Is there any program that we can take advantage of that will help with the taxes besides this 4% and the 65? That would help defray the cost. Is there any program that, in lieu of giving your deed and title away, that will help people, make minor repairs to their house so that they can still qualify for the insurance in their respective needs?
The only thing I know, city, Charleston, the question was, is there anything that could be done to help people pay their taxes and to make the repairs on their home without losing it? The only thing I know of is the city of Charleston allows you to break up your tax bill into those 4 payments. I haven't heard nobody who's actually taken advantage of it or that likes it. But I know that's an option. From the sense of, have you tried to contact people like Habitat for Humanity, or have they been successful with that, those type of organizations?
I don't know. It seems like most of the people that need repairs may be more elderly or fixed. If they're not elderly, they're on a fixed income. And most places that ask, or most programs that are here in the city that offers some assistance, you want to do, your deed in lieu of, for repairs. And one program was that you can stay, if you're the owner of the house, you can stay in the house as long as you can get the repairs as long as you're the owner of the house and you stay in the house. The minute that the person dies, so they take it to grant, but the minute the person dies, the loan becomes, to fruition, you have to pay the interest plus whatever the loan payment is. And if you can't pay in the specified time, then you have to sell the house. And then the entity that owes you the money gets the money first off the top, and you get what's left. And it has to have your will, like a clear title after the owner has died, in order to call that into account. So please iterate how important it is to have a will and clear title.
Okay.
What is it, 10 years?
And if the person, the owner is in the house for 10 years, then that is not applied to. But if they die before 10 years, then that applies.
Okay, so if the owner gets the repairs and the entity gets the title, so the owner has to be living in the house for 10 years.
10 years after the repairs.
Okay, and if they live past the 10 years, they get their title back?
Yeah.
Did you get their title back?
Now that's what it used to be.
But it used to be, but we don't know what it is now. I just heard somebody lost their house.
So this is a private entity, or? Okay. So we wanted to stress the importance of estate planning and having a will, so you can say who gets your property once you are no longer here. And I know that's a lot of conversations that a lot of people don't want to have for multiple reasons. For example, I work for the Center for Heirs Property. I own property. My supervisor asked me, do I have a will? I told him no. There's multiple reasons why. I don't have a husband. I don't have any kids, but I'm still trying to figure out who to leave my stuff to. So I get it. But you have to have it. You have to have a will. Just described here a situation where there's an entity that will help people repair their homes, but you have to give up your deed and title. And if you are deceased, if you die before 10 years, and if you can't repay it, you have to give your property up or sell it. Situations like that are not the best way to go. You definitely do not want to be where if you can't repay the debt, then you're going to give up your home ownership. Real estate in Charleston is too expensive and too rare to be taking those type of risks and chances. So as before, if you have heirs property, please call the center so we can help you resolve it. If you do have clear title, make sure that you have a will in place that who you have already stated who you want to take possession of your things when you're no longer here.
Last question. If you say that you are the owner of the property and you took the equity out of the property and you happen to die, what are the dangers of that?
If you own a property, you took all the equity out, and you happen to die, the people who you leave your property to, when you sell your property, they would have to try to sell it for more than what you owe on it in order to walk away with the profit, or they would have to assume your mortgage and keep paying it until they decide whether they want to sell it or if there's more equity that they possibly could turn over to their name and take it out. Okay, let's talk about some local areas that have already gentrified. I have Daniel Island, Mount Pleasant, downtown Charleston, Park Circle, James Island. What else should be added to the list? Hilton Head, Kiowa, West Ashley. What you said? North Charleston. Absolutely, absolutely. So local areas that have begun to experience gentrification: Sproul Avenue, Charleston Farms, Reynolds Avenue, Johns Island. The effects of gentrification on a neighborhood. It's a loss of sense of place, community, not knowing your neighbors, displacement of the original residents, higher taxes, higher rents, non-diverse schools. Anything else we should add to the list? Any effects of gentrification on a neighborhood?
Those coming in trying to take over.
What she said?
And those coming in trying to take over.
Those coming in trying to take over. Okay. How local government can help combat gentrification. Redo ordinances to make developers provide a certain amount of affordable units for lower income residents, and make developers work with the existing community to make sure as little displacement as possible takes place.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to stop there.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Mate. Always I'm gonna stop you there. So, one, define what is affordable
Okay.
and low income, because when more people move in and they're making higher incomes, that changes what is considered low income, because that's what we're experiencing in our community now. So a lot of people who have more money than the people who lived here before has now changed the dynamics of what is considered low income. So that's why we need to define what is low income, and we need to stop saying area median income, because when an influx of people making 100,000, and then the people existing there were making maybe 24 to 30,000, that's a big jump. Yeah. So that changed the narrative of what is considered low income. Okay.
Agreed, absolutely. You think there's a way that we could get around it? Or how can we address the needs of the original residents?
I don't know how you can get around it, but I do know that that's the loophole, because developers are now building 200 apartments, and maybe 12 apartments or 20 apartments may go to people who make that income bracket that I spoke about. And that's the problem. So meaning that, say, if you had 500 people living there, and they're thinking that they're coming back to the neighborhood, they can't afford those rents because it's only 20 apartments that they really could afford. So 20 and 5, that's a long jump.
It is. But unfortunately, when you run into developers that, in your scenario, that they actually provide 20, that's an exception to the rule, because most of them not even doing that.
So there's no program that has like the apartment affordable.
That would be on the individual municipalities. The city of Charleston, of everybody, I feel like they're doing almost a better job trying to do that. North Charleston, none. Mount Pleasant is starting to have the conversation, but I haven't seen anything really take off yet.
So, I guess the reason I asked is who makes the decision on for example, like who makes the decision on what 20 versus
the developer? The developer, if it's not approved from the municipality, the developer come in and be like, okay, so we're gonna do 500 units, and of these 500, we're gonna do 20 that's affordable. So the municipality, they're used to hearing none is affordable, so they're excited about that.
because in some of those developers, when they develop,
there is no 20.
Correct.
in that group,
Correct.
one in particular, on Lee Street, across the Rezoning. We don't have
Ways to fight gentrification. We have increased access to affordable housing, rent control, provide legal representation for tenants facing evictions, community land trust, don't sell your property, estate planning and wills, and resolve various property issues. That brings us to the end of our presentation. Any follow-up questions or comments that you would like to share with the group? No? Well, hearing none, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. And I will email out this presentation to everyone who joined with us today. And if you have any questions about Ayers property, feel free to give the center a call or email. And you have a great rest of your afternoon.
I have a question. Their cars belong to the Air Center, San Bernardino.
No, ma'am. You can call them